guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 13, episode 12. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, we gon' get a little spicy, just a little bit. And I had two spicy things to talk about, but I think I'm going to separate them because on Watch What Happens Live yesterday, it was Dr. Nicole from Real Housewives of Miami, and it was Erica from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And when I tell you Dr. Nicole wrapped up Anne Marie, and I was gonna play it since Anne Marie, you know, they go together, but I think I'm gonna save that for Real Housewives of Miami's Spicy Corner. So we're just gonna talk about what Erica had to say about Kyle. Now, people are speculating that there might be a rift between Kyle and Erica because in this clip that I'm going to play for y'all from Watch What Happens Live, Erica was really vocal about Andy getting to the bottom of what's going on between Kyle and Mauricio. And I'm not mad. But let me play that audio for you and then let's discuss.
There you go.
So what does that leave us in Beverly Hills?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Where does that leave us with the Kyle Mauricio thing?
About like
Talking about our real lives.
talking about your real
I'm sorry,
lives.
being such a kind.
Well, I think Kyle. Well, now that they're separated, Kyle was on this show on premiere night and answered every question I had for her.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
we do the reunion next Friday.
As somebody
in
who
LA.
got eviscerated,
Yes.
I would like to see everybody get the same treatment.
You okay? All right. Great.
And I love her. She's a dear friend
Yes.
of mine, but fair is fair.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of questions for her. So there you go.
So that was Erica. And my thing is, I don't have a problem with what Erica said. I actually understand Erica's point of view where she's like, girl, y'all ate me up and we all did, okay? I had questions, okay? Where was that money, sis? And why you not giving them earrings away? So I get her being like, if fair is fair, then we get to divulge into Kyle's relationship because Kyle's relationship has been a heavy storyline throughout the whole entire season. And the thing is, yes, Kyle and Mauricio has told us that they are separated, but they haven't given us a reason why they're separated. They haven't told us whether it's because Mauricio cheated or Kyle got tired of him cheating, because there's always been rumors that have been around saying that, you know, Mauricio be in them streets in LA and Kyle they have like an understanding. So people are like, maybe she's done with the understanding. Some are like, maybe the death of her friend kind of woke her up where she was just like, I don't want to live this life anymore. Now that she's gone and I realize life is too long and too short to live a life that I don't want to live anymore. Or have y'all legit just grown apart? And it's because Mauricio is so consumed with his corporation and his business that he really doesn't have time for Kyle, and Kyle wants more time. Truly, what is it? And it doesn't help that Morgan Wade is like sprinkled in throughout the mix and that Kyle doesn't give us a solid answer when it comes to Morgan. Like when people ask her, like, are you and Morgan dating? It's like, no, you guys. And she does it very like cheeky. Then you got us at last episode where you bringing up that you cool with being a lesbian, a bisexual, which ain't nothing wrong with it. But like you're like leaving crumbs throughout the house, and then you're mad at us for stepping on the crumbs and asking you questions about it. Like, let us know what's going on, sis. Like, let us know. And then if I was Morgan, I would feel like a prop if I was her, because it's like every time people ask her about you, is she always brings you up. And yes, people ask her ask Kyle about Morgan, but it doesn't mean that Kyle has to answer all the questions about Morgan. Like in that Amazon Live, I feel like majority of what was asked of her was about Morgan, and she was really answering them questions. I'm just like, I would get irritated if I was Morgan, especially if there was nothing going on between us. But maybe there is something going on between us and they just have an understanding. And I'm not saying Morgan is some type of victim, because again, the lady is 29 years old. She damn near 30. So she's a consenting adult. But it's also like the power dynamics too. Kyle got millions of money. Morgan is this like indie country singer. And so she is benefiting off of being around Kyle because Kyle has status, prestige and visibility, but I don't know if it's going to be I don't know if that's an equivalent trade-off, if you know what I mean. Because it's like, what happens when Kyle drops Morgan? Like, I don't know if she's, like, because I'm not so sure if this is not a midlife crisis when it comes to Kyle. I'm not. I'm really not. But we'll talk about that more in the review. So let's get into the review. All right, y'all. So let's get into this review. So it opens up, and I'm not even going to... I giggled within the first, like, 10 seconds of this episode with Sutton doing hot Pilates with her fireplace on in her house with the instructor with the iPhone, doing FaceTime with Avi, because I guess Avi is on vacation, and she complaining to him talking about he need to come back because she was like, this vacation too long and you need to come back. And Avi on the FaceTime like, girl, what you doing? And she was like, I'm doing hot Pilates. He was like, why the furnace on? Why is the fireplace on? I know Avi get paid good money. I know he get paid good money because Sutton would probably be running him ragged. We did see Erica Jane. You know, she's practicing. I thought that was a really nice scene. We see Phoenix and Dorit having a moment. Phoenix is gonna be something when she get older. I know she gonna run that house. I thought it was funny when she took that food out her mama's mouth and ate. I said, come on, Phoenix. And then we see Garcelle doing, she at the face gym, I guess, getting a facial. I was like, this B-real footage shows they're doing things. This is what I want to see. I don't know. Let me stop comparing. But yeah. So the next thing we like, our opening scene that we settle on is with Sutton and Kyle. Kyle don't like Sutton. Kyle does not like Sutton. And you can tell because every time Sutton and Kyle are in a scene together, Kyle is always shading her like unprompted. Like, she got out the car shading her. She was like, girl, why do you look like you got on like you dressed for Easter? And the dress Sutton had on was, I actually thought was kind of okay. I just didn't like the puffy shoulders. And she was cutting roses out, like, because she has a rose bush, so she could bring flowers into the house. And Kyle was like, do you really garden? And she was like, yeah, I talked to my roses. It's good for them. And she was like, okay, you talk to your roses. I don't want to be in this sun. Let's go inside. Like, I was like, okay, girl, chill out. Chill out, Kyle. Chill out. So they're in the house. You know, Kyle like goes to her kitchen, like goes into her refrigerator, complaining about how she don't have food and how it's so neat in there. And you know, they're really trying to hold true to this whole eating disorder storyline with Sutton. But I don't think it's right, because I don't think Sutton has an eating disorder. We've seen Sutton eat. She a bacon eating vegetarian or vegan or whatever, girl. She be eating. Sutton be eating. She from the South. Sutton, and I'm not to say people in the South don't got eating disorders, but Sutton gives, she eats. Sutton gives, she eats, okay? And she cook a mean meal when she feel like it. So she was like, you know, the kids aren't here. If I would have known Kyle would have been here, I would have put food in there so she knew I ate. And then Kyle had me weak when she went into the refrigerator to get out Sutton's eye patches to put underneath her eyes. I said, oh my gosh. Kyle said, girl, I need to, this got to go down. So we talk about, you know, the event that they had last episode for Lorraine and her celebration of life. They also talk about where was Mauricio. They do a flashback scene. Even Lorraine's mom asks where Mauricio was, and Kyle was like, well, he was in Mexico, now he's in Aspen. And you know, she was sorry that he couldn't be there. I do think it was a misstep for Mauricio not to be there. Like, he should have been there. Like Kyle said, Lorraine was his friend too. As someone who's still processing like grief and things of that nature, it is uncomfortable. So no one wants to be around it. I don't like funerals. And it's like, I wouldn't want to go either, especially if I knew I was going to be breaking down crying. But you show up for your family and friends. Like, and no one wants to be at our funeral, okay? But you, like, Mauricio should have been there. And that was definitely a wrong move on his part. He should have showed up for Lorraine, for himself, and for Kyle and Lorraine's family and his family as well. So, like Sutton said, like the only excuse he could have had is that he was in the hospital. And I said, yeah, girl, you not wrong. You're not wrong. We then also find out that they're going to be going to Dorit's, I think it's Homeless, Not Toothless, which, like I said, that season, that is a stupid charity. It's stupid. And the reason why I say that is like, why would I need a home. I don't care about my teeth. And I know people would be like, well, you know, you need nice teeth in order to get jobs. And I'm a teeth person and I get that. But like, if it comes to like Kyle said, I want them to have both their teeth and a home. That's the thing. I need both. And having a house is way better than not having teeth. Like, it's 30 something degrees outside. Yesterday it was 20. And then earlier in the morning on that day, it was 14 degrees. Teeth can't keep me warm. Okay, teeth can't keep me warm. So I don't get this charity. I don't get it. Unless I know they're probably doing the dental work for free, but I'm like, are y'all also donating and helping with like legislation to make it not criminal for people to be homeless? Because that's what's do y'all know there is about to be a Supreme Court case to penalize people for being homeless? Because a pastor, I think in Ohio, allowed, like, they're about to jail a pastor for allowing homeless people to sleep in the church to keep from, I can't stand this country. I can't, okay? Because what do you mean you about to put people in prison for being homeless and for helping out? Let me not, because I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to do that. But I'm not about to do it. But pretty much, they're going to that event, and Dorit is the one that's hosting it. So she is setting up the gala and for everyone to come because they're going to have a big event. And while they're there, Sutton lets Kyle in on how Garcelle came up to her at the celebration of life for Lorraine and was like, girl, why was Anne-Marie talking about my esophagus? Like, what's up with her? Because I thought we was cool. The girl licked my armpit, which she did in Ojai. They was doing a lot of licking at that place. I hope they scrubbed their mouth. and Kyle was like, oh. Kyle has definitely put a battery in Anne-Marie's back because I'm like, you should tell your friend she looked crazy. Like, yeah, in the beginning, it was kind of like funny. Like, yeah, she had her, like, you know, to be like, that doesn't make sense. But to be at such a serious event, such as your friend's celebration of life, and to like talk about it, which we find out she talked about that situation for like almost an hour or two, makes your friend that you say is your best friend, Kyle, look crazy. She looked crazy. Okay, and I'm with Sutton. Like, what's her issue with me? Because they were like, thus this far, and Sutton hasn't done anything for Anne-Marie to have an issue with her. She ain't done nothing. But we also find out that the cast event trip is them going to Barcelona, which, girl, if they don't go anywhere in Potomac other than Austin, I'm going to lose it. Because what do you mean that was y'all's cash trip going to Austin? So they're going to Barcelona and everyone's invited. And Sutton is kind of like, I don't want Anne-Marie to go. And Kyle's like, well, you can't uninvite her. And I was like, if I was Sutton, I would have been like, yeah, I can. But you know, she can't. We know she can't. But the next scene we see is of Crystal on FaceTime with Garcelle while she's at home. So like I said, Crystal is on FaceTime with Garcelle, and pretty much they're talking about the celebration of life for Lorraine. And they were like, it was such a nice event. Kyle did a really good job. But why was Anne-Marie still talking about Sutton's esophagus? Like, did she not know where we was at? And they basically showed us later in the episode that Anne-Marie was talking about it for like hours. And I was like, Anne-Marie, why are you pressed? That's the part that's weird to me. Is like she is really fixated on this. That's why I feel like Kyle put a battery in her back, because I don't get her fixation about Sutton's esophagus. So they're like, yeah, she was doing a lot for the absolute least. And then Crystal lets us know that Anne-Marie pretty much lied to her when they first met, like 4 months ago at a Christmas party. Anne-Marie says she was an anesthesiologist, but Crystal was like, but when she gets to the group, she lets us know she's a nurse anesthetist. And this is my thing. There's nothing wrong with being a nurse. I don't want nobody to see this and get it misconstrued. There is nothing wrong with being a nurse. I appreciate you if you a nurse and you watch me, or if you come across this video, because I know y'all be doing work. Okay, I know y'all be doing. Y'all do the same amount of hours and get paid least than doctors. And I know the schooling is not the same, but the stories that I've heard from my friends that are doctors about how they appreciate the nurses around them, and how in order to be a good doctor, you need to have an amazing relationship with your nurses. I am not talking down on y'all. I just want to say that before I say this. It do look funny. It does look funny for Crystal to be like, well, I'm an anesthesiologist. And it's like, no, ma'am, you're a nurse anesthetist, and there's nothing wrong with that. Say what you are. Because at the end of the day, you still went to school for it, and you still got certified in it. That's still an amazing feat, but it does kind of make it seem like you're saying this to make you more than what you are. That's it. So we then get this scene of Crystal with her brother. Crystal tells her brother about Sutton licking Kyle's feet. He's utterly disgusted, like we were, because if you don't know, in a lot of in majority of Asian cultures, you do not bring your shoes into the house. Like if you do that, that's like mad disrespectful. Like you're like that. You don't do that type of stuff. Most of even in black households, we don't do that. Like your shoes stay at the door. Like they normally stay at the door, unless the only time you walk around your house in your shoes are if they're like brand new shoes. But if you're outside in the elements, normally you take them off at the door and you carry them up the steps and place them wherever you normally put your shoes. So he was like, yeah, that's gross. That's gross. But he lets us know, like, we know he just got back from China. And, he saw Vivi, his ex-fiance. He pretty much lets Crystal know, like, girl, she's always felt like you and mom never took to her. Like, y'all never accepted her in the family. And it was made pretty plainly when y'all basically told me to come back home and she couldn't come. And he also says that, like, he knows that his mom and his sister really love him, but there needs to be boundaries. Crystal even lets us know that people oftentimes thought they were not siblings, but twins, because that's how much they were around each other and always like up underneath one another. But I think Jeff is older than Crystal. And she was just like, she realized how hard, like she hasn't been the best when it comes to her relationship with her brother, as in like giving him space. She talks about how she was actually scared and worried about marrying Rob because she thought that she would lose her relationship with her brother. She realized she hasn't lost it, but she also hasn't given him the chance or the opportunity to like be his own person. And you can tell that was like a hard conversation for her to have. And I was glad that Rob pretty much told her that, like, I'm going back to China for at least a year and a half, because he sings out there. He's a recording artist. He was like, I can DJ. I can really reclaim my life. And he was like, this doesn't have anything to do with me wanting space from you and mom. I just need to be my own person. And like somebody in the comments said, girl, this is the conversation Teresa and Joe should have had years ago. Years ago. But I was glad that he said this, and I was glad that Crystal was able to receive it, because you could definitely tell that she's overbearing when it comes to him, because I still think it's crazy. Like, he could be upset with Crystal and his mom all he wants. At the end of the day, he's a grown man. If he did not want to leave China during the height of the panorama, the pandemic, you know what I mean? He could have stayed with Vivi in China. He should have known that she was born there. She probably was not going to have the opportunity to come to America because they were not letting people from certain countries into other countries. So he should have given her that opportunity. Like not opportunity. He just should have had the wherewithal to be like, you know what? This is the woman I want to be with. This is the lady I want to marry. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be with her. I'm gonna be with her. And the fact that he didn't do that, like I keep saying, I'm not mad at Vivi to be like, I don't want to be with this man. So before we get to the homeless, not toothless event, horrible name. They got to change. They got to change. I hate saying it. We see Kyle and Mauricio. There's definitely tension going on with them. Mauricio and her are getting into the car. He's like, oh, you look pretty. She's like, huh. And then he's like, where are we going? And she was like, oh, to a charity event. And like, while she's in the car, she's like filing her nails. And she's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to Spain. And he was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? And then in her confessional, she was like, I'm giving Mauricio what he gives me. You know, he does this, I'm going to do it too. And you can clearly tell that Kyle is annoyed with him and irritated by him, because then when we get to the event, you know, that Dorita's throwing, she's like, Anne-Marie and her husband are there and they're taking pictures because there's a red carpet and they're like popping pictures. And Mauricio's like, hey, man, y'all looking good. Okay. And she's like, stop distracting them. They're taking pictures. And Mauricio's like, I was just saying they look good. And I'm like, Kyle, here's my thing about Kyle. Kyle probably is justified in her annoyance and her anger and frustrations with Mauricio, especially with him not showing up for Lorraine's event. And I understand that, but tell him that. I hate when people are passive aggressive like that. If there is an issue and you have a problem with me, let me know you have a problem with me. You're being very short and very curt with him, and he looking at you like, girl, what's the issue? Because you haven't said anything. You haven't, and I hate when people do that, because people have done that to me, and then when I reciprocate it and I get nasty with you, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Leah, and I'm like, no. If you're going to have an issue, I'm not stupid. I know when someone's being passive aggressive with me. Girl, be aggressive. If you have an issue, tell me what's up so we can actually have a conversation. And I think that's what's bothering me with Kyle, because she's being childish. Like that whole situation when they were at Portia's birthday. If you had an issue with Mauricio, why are you trying to get him in trouble with his parents? Like, you're doing these little things, and it's like, just say what it is. Because Mauricio was looking at you like, girl, what's going on? And a lot of people are like, oh, Kyle's checked out. I don't think she's checked out, because when you've checked out of a relationship, you've checked out. You're indifferent to everything that person does. Kyle is very much checked in, and she's just angry. She's angry with him and she's irritated. So those emotions are still there, because she's still like bothered by his, like, what he does. And it's weird to me, because I'm like, girl, just tell the man why you angry. Tell the man why you're frustrated. Tell him why you're upset and you feel some type of way. Like, if you would just explain what it is, maybe a lot of people would be on your side. But right now, a lot of people either feel like Kyle, this is a storyline, and Mauricio just don't know what it is. Other people are like, maybe, yeah, there is something going on, but why is she not communicating it? And that's where I'm at. I think there's definitely something going on with Kyle and Mauricio, but she's not explaining to him what it is. And she could be checked out in a sense, but she's not indifferent to him. Because I know when I check out, I'm indifferent. I don't care. You could do something and it won't move me any other way. Like, but she is really irritated and annoyed by him. And I'm like, okay, girl, if you don't like him, you don't like him. But tell him why. Because you look crazy to me. Especially when it came to the Anne-Marie thing, where he was just like, oh, y'all look good, bigging them up. And they didn't even have a problem with what he said. They even giggled, because he was like, show them pearly whites. And she had an attitude. I was like, girl, if you don't calm down. Because if I was Mauricio, I would have pulled Kyle to the side and been like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, what's up? Like, what? Like, I can't stand when people are like that with me. I can't. Just tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. The way my anxiety is built up, like, I overthink things. So at this point, just be direct and be like, well, you pissed me off and you did this, this, and this. Or I don't like when you did this. Or I have an issue with you when you did this. I am not above having a conversation. If you want to talk, we can talk about it. Okay? So the event looks nice. The only thing I had an issue with is they had the food on the table and it wasn't covered. I was like, y'all ain't even had no little cheap plastic over it. Y'all just got people's salads out there. You don't know if people sprinkling stuff on the salad or there's flies around. Y'all ain't got no little covers. I wouldn't have ate that. I wouldn't have ate that. And don't let me be hungry. Oh, then I'm gonna have an attitude because I'm hungry. You got food in front of me, but I don't know what's going on with it because I don't know who's sitting at my table. No, all the ladies look nice. I didn't get why Erica had on that bubblegum pink outfit, other than probably wanting to stick out so she could get her a doctor. Because the way her dentist walked by her and was like, he was like, oh, you look beautiful. You look stunning. My name is such and such, Dr. such and such. And she was like, yeah, you're my dentist. He was like, well, your teeth look amazing. I said, Erica, you better pull you a dentist. Okay, they make good money. They make very good money. So they make good money, sis. They make really good money. So Erica's like, oh my God, my dentist I just ran into my dentist. That was so funny to me. So while all the girls are like crowding around this table, you got Erica, Crystal, Garcelle, and then Sutton, and then Anne-Marie and her husband pull up. And then Sutton hugs Anne-Marie. And then she was like, Anne-Marie, we need to have a conversation. And Anne-Marie was like, okay, we can talk after. No, said no, we're going to have this conversation right now because I need to know what's your issue with me. Like, I thought we were cool because, you know, you licked my armpit. We was good. But like I've been hearing you been talking about me behind my back, especially about my esophagus. And so next thing you know, they both started to argue. And you got Sutton saying, ma'am. And the thing about the whole ma'am, and you got Anne-Marie being like, Sutton, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to argue. We're not going to shout at each other. Sutton's like, I'm not shouting. I said you were. Sutton, you were. Because you were. It was ma'am. Like Sutton was angry. And like Erica said, like where Sutton and her are from, them ma'ams mean two different things. Either ma'am or ma'am, because you about to get cussed out or smacked. And I was weak. Because Sutton was like, ma'am. And so then they were like, so everyone's like, girl, why do you care about her esophagus? And Sutton is like, yeah, why do you care? And Crystal, Sutton's like, you need to apologize to me because I haven't done anything to you. And then Anne-Marie is like, well, I apologize for being inquisitive and very astute, trying to understand what's going on with you. That would have pissed me off. That would have pissed me off. You see Mauricio and Anne-Marie's husband just looking at them argue like, whew. And you got Kyle standing beside Sutton, and Sutton being like, girl, you like, I don't get why you this press over my esophagus. And Crystal was like, well, yeah, because you talked about her esophagus for like 2 hours to the point where me and Garcelle got annoyed by it. And Garcelle was like, yeah, she got a point. And they showed that Crystal's like, what's her name? Anne-Marie talked about it for like from 6:30, like from 6 p.m. to 9, like to almost 10 o'clock. I was like, she was constantly talking about it. And I was like, yeah, girl, why do you care? And then that's when I think Garcelle was like, you did call her a liar and you said she had I think Crystal said you said she had an eating disorder and you said she's lied twice. So then Erica's like, what has Sutton lied about? And she was like, she lied about her doctor saying that she can have gabapentin and drink. And Sutton said, yes, my doctor said that. And then Anne-Marie was like, I'm a board certified a nurse anesthetist. And Sutton is like, my doctor is a board certified like a GI doctor, a gastroenterologist. So like, what are you talking about? And he said I could do that, or she or he, whatever, said I could do that. And then Garcelle chimes in and said, you did say that she, like, you've known her only for 5 minutes and she's lied twice to you. And I think it was about the drinking and then the whole esophagus situation. And then Crystal was like, you're such a, a bitch, girl. Like, what's up with you? What's up with you? And you talked about this ad nauseum. And she said, Crystal also said, you lied too, because didn't you tell me when we first met that you were an anesthesiologist, not a nurse anesthetist? So then Anne Marie says, I think Crystal is just jealous because I went to medical school and she didn't. And we get a flashback when they were on their way to Ojai, where Crystal said she wanted to go to medical school, but Rob told her he wasn't going to wait for her, and that she decided that she wanted a family and she decided to be with Rob. Now, I don't know. Crystal could slightly feel some type of way about Anne Marie, but I also think Anne Marie is doing too much and she's making herself look bad professionally. Like, okay, you had a question the first couple of times when you were talking, when you had your first interaction with Sutton, and Sutton told her, like, girl, why are you in my throat? Now you're holding on to it and you look crazy and you're making yourself look bad professionally. And like I said, when she brought that up, you're black. You're a black nurse. Don't lose your real job arguing with these white women about her own medical situation. People already are there's medical racism. We know it exists for us. Chill out, lady. Chill out. Now with Crystal, I don't know. I probably would have went to medical school. Like, if Rob said he wasn't going to wait for me, then I would have pieced out. I'd have been like, you're not the man I need to marry. And I don't think you could put that on Rob, because there's a lot of people who tell their significant others or people that they're dating, hey, I'm not waiting for you. I want these things now. And that is your right. But Crystal ultimately made that decision. So I'm not even going to be mad or have like a thought about Rob. Like, you chose to marry that man. You doing pretty well. It's like you actually had the opportunity if you want to. Well, I don't even know. Did Crystal go to college? I don't even think Crystal went to college. I mean, she chose her life. She chose her life. So they all decide to go sit down for the event. It seems like the event did really well. We then get this scene of them sitting down around one of the round tables as people are mingling. And Sutton is like, okay, we about to go to Spain and I want us all to get along. Like, and she tells Anne Marie, she's like, I like you, but I want to understand what our issue is. And Anne Marie's like, Sutton, I'm not going to do this with you. I already told you what it was. And I'm like, Anne Marie, girl, you just don't want to, you don't want to make yourself look good. You don't want to make yourself look good. So they pretty much are like, well, we'll just table this and hopefully when we get to Spain, everybody is in good spirits and nice to each other. I find it funny that Kyle is like, I'm just tired of them fighting. Girl, you are ecstatic that somebody is fighting with Sutton other than you. And you make it very plain when you are smiling and giddy when they're arguing. Then to be in your confessional, I just wish they would stop fighting. I can't take it. Girl, shut up, Kyle. Shut up with you smirking. So the last scene we have is of Anne Marie FaceTiming Sutton to apologize. I guess she got a wake up call that she was doing too much and that she really wants to go on this trip to Spain and not get booted off the plane. So she apologizes, but her apology was half-assed because she's telling Sutton, oh, like, I apologize for my part in this. And like Sutton said, I ain't done nothing to you, so you need to take all of this. And Sutton was like, okay, I mean, this is a decent apology, but we can talk when we get to Spain, because, girl, I ain't done nothing to you for you to be feeling this type of way about me. And it just shows that Kyle put a battery in her back, because why are you holding on to this, Anne Marie? So Anne Marie's like, well, of course we're friends because I licked your armpit. Like, we have a bond. And I'm like, okay, we have a bond. You gonna get yourself booted off the island. So I'm interested to see where their conversation goes once they get to Spain. I don't see nothing really positive coming out of it, because Anne Marie is holding to the fact that she has a right to be intrusive and know what's going on with Sutton. But I feel as though, like, if you wanted to hold on to Sutton lying about something, maybe you could have talked. Well, she wasn't at the Las Vegas thing. Yo, it probably would have been worse. Anne Marie, if she would have been here in the earlier episodes, probably would have been holding would have grasped onto that Las Vegas thing and probably would have never let that go. Probably would have never let that go. But yeah, y'all, that was the episode. That was it. That was all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Hop down in them comments below. Give me your thoughts. Give me a like and subscribe if you like the content. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.